Aliens exist in One Piece, and they don't just exist in outer space either. Not only has Luffy met aliens, fought aliens, but he himself may also be an alien. I'm not crazy, you're crazy. So let's go ahead and reveal what the world government doesn't want you to know. Oh, and Vegapunk is also involved. Hello and welcome to the Grand Line Review, your source for everything One Piece. My name is Liam and we're gonna go on a bit of a journey, because today we are here to examine the worst kept secret in the entire series, which is the existence of extraterrestrial life. Now, in order to prevent the world government from reading our mind brains, we will need the patented fun tinfoil hat. And what we're also gonna need to do is we're gonna need some nice crazy conspiracy theory lighting like this. Yeah, look at this. Now we're talking aliens. However, the other method to protect yourself would be to subscribe to the Grand Line Review, which will not only emit anti-mind reading waves, but also result in consistent injections of One Piece culture administered directly into your YouTube feed. So make sure to show your rebellion against the world government by hitting this here nifty button. All right. Aliens. So according to my channel statistics, I am about to thoroughly blow the minds of roughly 40% of people watching this video who are anime-only viewers, because our first batch of canon aliens were, for some reason, omitted from the anime, which I suspect is the result of world government censorship. However, if we consult the sacred texts, i.e. the manga, specifically chapter 428, we see the beginnings of Enel's Great Space Operations, one of the most absurdly important cover stories that has just been completely ignored by society at large. But following the events of Skypiea, Enel makes good on his desires by traveling to the moon, or as he calls it, Endless Vast. And here Enel encounters not just one, but two extraterrestrial life forms, the most prominent of which are the space pirates, a group of creatures so indescribable that the word indescribable actually becomes quite a vivid descriptor. But they are a formal space traveling pirate crew with a whole vessel of their own, which I suppose we could call a UFO. Except for the fact that it's not unidentified because we know what it is. It's a ship. So I guess we'll just call it an FO instead. Except we can't do that because we haven't seen it fly. So I guess it's just an O, like a solid O. And the space pirates do seem to follow a similar hierarchy to our regular old Earth, or whatever the One Piece planet is called, pirates, because they do have a captain and he has been officially named. This is Captain Seamars, and his mission to the moon is a bit mysterious. The space pirates were said to be excavating moon ruins, but with the heavy machinery they've brought and all of the explosions and stuff that they did, it seems more like a very unforgiving mining operation. Unfortunately, the rest of the space pirates have not officially been named until now, because I don't like things without names. If you watching this video right now do not have a name, that's right, I don't like you. So I asked all of you Grand Fleet members to name these characters for me. Names that we have unfortunately selected at random. So I would like to introduce you to Chapstick, Simba, Person, Person was a good one, Digbert, twin of Bert Dig, twin of Digbert, Liam, Liam, really? Why am I the short walrus thing? And finally, we have Bungle Nuts. Now, these are by far some of the most bizarre characters we've ever come across in One Piece. We've met some weird dudes, but these guys are quite literally out of this world. At first glance, there's nothing really connecting them, with the exception of Digbert, twin of Bert Dig, and Bert Dig, twin of Digbert, who clearly have some kind of, lizard-based connection here. But the way I would describe them is like a whole crew of space minks. Most of them have primarily animalistic traits, with the exception of Person, and even then there's just something weird going on here. But even then, you can't properly describe them as some kind of moon mink, because minks appear to consist of fur-covered mammals, whereas in this group we have reptiles, fish, and like whatever Liam is. They're almost like a bizarre fusion of every race that we've seen on the One Piece planet. And very intriguingly, a lot of them tend to wear these bodysuits as well, equipped with manometers, nifty little things designed to measure pressure. But weirdly enough, not all of the space pirates wear these suits, and those that do seem to have entirely custom suits. So, apart from the manometers, there's no real uniformity happening here. Also, someone pointed this out to me, and because I've now seen it, you also need to see it. But Person appears to be holding a checkerboard writing instrument, except that Oda has forgotten to color in one of the squares, and it bothers me. It bothers me ever so much. Putting the space pirates to one side though, Enel also met an entirely different life form on the moon. And these would be the ever adorable cyborgs. In fact, the very first life form that Enel stumbled across was Lieutenant Spacey and his comrades, who had just lost a battle against the space pirates. This is where things start to get a little bit complicated though, because Lieutenant Spacey and his crew are not actually aliens, as just like Enel, they originated from the One Piece planet. And we know this thanks to Lieutenant Spacey's flashback, where he recalls his birth in a place called Karakuri Island. Now that name should sound very familiar to you, because that just so happens to be where Frankie was sent during the 2-year time skip. And it's also where Dr. Vegapunk was born, but well, we will get to that. So the man who created Lieutenant Spacey and the rest of the other Spaceys, his name was Dr. Tsukimi, and one of his hobbies was moon gazing. I say was because one night he witnessed a massive explosion on the moon, choked on a dumpling, and then rather tragically passed away. I say tragically, but it's actually portrayed as weirdly comical. It's such a strangely hilarious death. But as a result of this, Spacey and his fellow mustached cyborgs then rode balloons all the way up to the moon in order to take violent vengeance against whoever had caused these explosions. There they fought and lost to the space pirates, and that brings us up to speed of where we are now. But this is where things get truly wild. Because also on the moon is a native species of cyborg who look exactly like Lieutenant Spacey, just more primitively dressed, and they all have wings. Wings, how about that? So something's not really adding up here. We have a race of machines made on the One Piece planet who have traveled to outer space, only to discover that there is an identical race of extraterrestrial cyborgs. And a clue for why this may be actually lies in a very unexpected place, being the Jolly Roger of the space pirates. It's rather oddly elongated, isn't it? Sort of like an aubergine. And many people's first thoughts would probably turn to someone like Fukurokuju. It does look an awful lot like his skull, or perhaps even Vice Admiral Strawberry, and maybe, just maybe even Don Chinchao, who both have quite lengthy noggins of their own. But when it comes to long heads, my mind always goes to Vegapunk, and that extraordinary silhouette we were given of him on Punk Hazard, where it appears that his head is simply stupidly long. So there's a potential connection here, although I should say that this long-headed Jolly Roger may just be based on the stereotypical kind of gray alien, or even a more xenomorph style thing. But the fact of the matter is that somehow these moon cyborgs, they predate the ones that were constructed on the One Piece planet. And given how almost completely identical they are, I'm gonna go ahead and rule out coincidence on this one rare occasion. The scenario being implied here is that extraterrestrial beings conducted space travel and settled on the One Piece planet, taking all of their vast advanced technological knowledge with them, hence why their modern day descendants are still able to build these cyborgs. But the whole concept of Karakuri Island very much falls into place with this thought. Because even without the once-in-a-lifetime genius of Vegapunk, Karakuri Island was still known as a haven of technological advancements, the likes of which have not been replicated anywhere else on the planet. So I honestly don't think it's too far of a stretch to suggest that Vegapunk may very well be the descendant of an alien. Particularly since we've already met literally hundreds of alien descendants already. In the late stages of Enel's cover story, he uncovers ancient moon ruins, and he discovers an interesting story inscribed on their walls. And one very familiar feature we find here are images of our beloved mustache cyborgs, but working alongside them is a much more shocking depiction of winged individuals. These are the ancestors of our modern day skyfolk, and you can tell this because there are 3 distinctly portrayed societies. You can see the Skypians, the Shandians, and the Burkans, all of whom have slightly different wing shapes. But the real telling factor here is that the name of this ancient moon city is revealed to be Burka. Now, if you don't remember that name, that's quite understandable, because unlike Skypea and Shandora, we never actually got to see Burka. Enel, rather dickishly I might add, destroyed the island 8 years ago before we even knew that sky societies were a thing. Which actually comes with quite a great dose of irony, because Enel destroyed the settlement of Burka, but then he went on to revive the ancient city of Burka on the moon. But despite this, Burkans do still exist in the world. Enel and his crew are all native Burkans. Paradas, the old man who lives on Witheria, was born on Burka, even though we have yet to see if he has wings. And it's even theorized that Mad Monk Uruj is a Burkan native due to his wing shape. There's even a fun idea that because he is a monk, Uruj may have initially been one of Enel's priests, or whatever the Burkan god's priests were, prior to Burka's destruction. But whether he's Skypian, Shandoran, Burkan doesn't matter, because he is still an alien, as is every sky person we have ever encountered. Because this moon painting tells us how the self-proclaimed Moonanites, that's That's what they call themselves apparently. But the story tells us that these Moonanites had to flee their city in search of resources on the blue planet. Which means that Aruj, Konus, Kalgara, all of the them are the descendants of literal aliens. Even Enel actually, which makes this whole moon journey something of an unintended pilgrimage. In a twisted way, Enel has very much resurrected the legacy of Burka after previously wiping it completely off the face of the blue planet. And this also becomes very interesting when we think about Shandora in particular, because that story was all about protecting native legacy and tradition and stuff, but in reality the Shandorans, well, they were as colonial as they come, which is a fun little commentary on history, living so long in one place that we kind of forget how we got there. But things definitely go a step further. Whilst the Skyfolk are the only beings that we have 100% confirmed as aliens who settled on the blue planet, there is still a lot of potential lying elsewhere. The existence of the space pirates and their Jolly Rogers connection to Vegapunk suggests the possibility of an entirely separate alien race having settled on our planet, which is not at all outrageous because here's a fun little something that I've purposely kept quiet about until now. The One Piece planet has multiple moons, at least 6. One of those moons even has a sub-moon of its own, so let's say 7 moons for fun. And we have no idea which one of these moons Enel landed on, but if that moon was the home of our ancient sky people, then who's to say that the other 6 moons aren't populated with their own civilizations either? I mean, the space pirates, they certainly had to come from somewhere, and they may even be some sort of amalgamation of these various moon races. But really, we have to ask ourselves how many different life forms on this planet originated from outer space, and we don't have anywhere near a solid answer. I mean, my brain immediately wanders to the world nobles who do possess this very astronaut aesthetic, but even the will of D comes into question here, because whatever the Great Kingdom consisted of, it very much mirrors the situation of Karakuri Island. They possessed advancement significant enough to become the global power. Very easy to see happening if they were some sort of space settlers. Plus, if that D is actually a half-moon symbol, as many speculate, then that could be a nice little reference to their original home. And it also plays quite smoothly into the Great Kingdom's close alliance with Shandora, a nation of 100% confirmed aliens, but it could also speak to their alliance with Wano, a civilization that seems to greatly fixate on moon symbology. And yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. In that case, Monkey D. Luffy could very well be an alien. And I get it, I sound crazy, but that's a thing I'm allowed to do because I have the hat. And while we're here, let's also point out that one time that Panda Man's friend, jellyfish dude guy, was confirmed to be an alien on the back of volume 54. We literally see a UFO beam him down to say hello, and yeah, well, we just kind of have to accept that and move on. Move on to another video, that is, because there's always more to learn, explore, and experience with this wonderful series, so I look forward to seeing you there.